My sister stood up at Thanksgiving, her wine glass trembling just enough to look dramatic, and said, "Olivia needs to stop begging for money. It's pathetic." Everyone laughed softly like cruelty was a family tradition. I didn't argue. I just reached for my phone, opened my banking app, and started canceling 6 years of secret payments, her credit cards, her car, her loans, all gone in 30 seconds. She didn't even notice until her phone began buzzing nonstop. Declined. 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 You should have seen her face when she realized who pulled the plug, but trust me, that wasn't revenge. That was only the opening move. Thanksgiving has always been my mother's favorite performance. The house glowed like a magazine spread, cranberry-scented candles polished silver, and a centerpiece that looked too perfect to touch. Every year, Amanda made her grand entrance 30 minutes late, Burberry coat draped just so her husband Derek trailing behind with the kind of practiced smile rich men wear. I'd show up quietly, pie from the grocery store in one hand, car keys in the other. Nobody ever noticed I was on time. You learn patterns when you grow up as the family's afterthought. Mom would beam at Amanda like sunlight while saving her that tone for me. Half pity, half disapproval. "At least you're stable, Olivia," she'd say, as if stability were a consolation prize. Dad would chime in about Amanda's entrepreneurial spirit, conveniently forgetting her Etsy store lasted 3 months and lost money. It didn't matter. Amanda sparkled. I balanced spreadsheets. I made more money than anyone in that room, but to them, I'd never be interesting enough to brag about. 4 years earlier, before all this, Amanda called me crying. Midnight. Her voice shook the way it always did when she needed something. "Liv, I maxed out a card on the kitchen remodel. Derek can't know, please, just this once. I'll pay you back." The payment was $890. I wired it before I even asked a question. That's what sisters do, right? Help each other. But once became twice, then every month. Credit cards, a car loan, an insurance bill. Her emergencies turned into lifestyle maintenance. By year 4, I was covering $3,600 a month, enough to buy my own second car. I kept every receipt, every text. I told myself it was temporary, that one day she'd make it right. She never did. And I never said no. Part of me wanted to prove I wasn't the selfish one they thought I was. Another part was afraid of what would happen if I stopped. The family already saw me as cold. Refusing would make me cruel. So I stayed quiet, writing invisible checks to preserve their illusion of Amanda's perfect life. But that Thanksgiving felt different. Maybe it was the way Derek avoided eye contact, or how Amanda's laughter came too sharp, too brittle. Something was cracking beneath the gloss. I didn't know it yet, but that night would be the last time they ever underestimated me. Dinner began the same way it always did, Dad, carving the turkey like a surgeon, while Amanda narrated her life like a reality show. "Derek just expanded his practice," she announced, passing him a glass of Pinot like she was awarding a trophy. "We're thinking of buying the house next door. The kids want a pool." The table erupted with admiration. I smiled the kind of smile that doesn't reach your eyes, and sipped my water. My pie sat untouched on the counter, shrinking under the glow of her $200 charcuterie board. Then my cousin Maya spoke up. "I've been drowning in student loans," she said softly. "I can barely make minimum payments." I looked up, ready to help. "I can show you a few options to consolidate," Mom cut me off, voice sharp but polite. "Not now, Olivia. Not everyone wants to talk about numbers." Amanda jumped in, eager for attention. "Maya, you should talk to me. I'm great with money, great with money." I nearly laughed. This was the woman whose minimum payments I'd been covering for years. Still, I said nothing. Maya nodded, trying to be polite. Amanda launched into vague advice about budgeting and manifesting abundance. I stared at my plate until the edges blurred. After dinner, I found Maya alone in the kitchen loading dishes. "Hey," I said quietly. "If you want, I can send you some real resources. No pressure." She smiled with relief, but before she could answer, Amanda's voice sliced through the air. "Oh my God, Olivia, can you not?" She was standing in the doorway, wine in hand, expression sharp enough to cut glass. "I was just offering—" "She doesn't need your lectures," Amanda snapped. "She needs actual help." I froze. "I work in finance, Amanda." She laughed. "And yet you can't even manage your own money. Everyone knows you're always broke. That's why you live in that tiny apartment." The words landed like slaps. Behind her, Dad appeared, drawn by the noise. "What's going on? Amanda's right," Mom said quickly. "If you're struggling, Liv, you can tell us." I stared at them. Struggling. Amanda's eyes glittered. "She's always asking me for money, Dad. It's embarrassing." That did it. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. For a second, I thought maybe I'd misheard, but the pity in Mom's face told me I hadn't. I had spent 4 years quietly funding her perfect life, her designer handbags, her spa days, her vacations, and now, in front of the whole family, she was rewriting the story, painting me as the beggar. My hands shook, but my voice didn't. "I've never asked you for a single dollar," I said. Amanda tilted her head, smiling like I was being dramatic. "Liv, just stop. It's fine. We get it." But it wasn't fine. It was the moment everything I'd swallowed for years began to burn its way back up. The kitchen went still. Even the clinking of dishes stopped. Amanda stood there, cheeks flushed, eyes bright with victory. She thought she'd humiliated me, but something inside me shifted quietly, almost peacefully, like a final switch flipping off. I pulled my phone from my pocket. "You're right," I said softly. "I should stop asking you for money." She smirked. Finally, some self-awareness. My thumb opened my banking app. 6 scheduled payments appeared in blue lines across the screen: her credit cards, her car loan, her insurance, her household bills. 4 years of handouts disguised as sisterly love. "Family helps family, right?" she said, sipping her wine. "Right," I answered, "but maybe not like this." The room watched me, unsure what I was doing. Then, one by one, I began canceling every payment. A tiny buzz confirmed each deletion. Canceled, canceled, canceled. "Olivia," my mother said sharply, "what are you doing? Taking responsibility for my choices," I said, repeating Amanda's favorite phrase. Amanda's phone buzzed once, then again, then 3 times in a row. She ignored it at first, but the alerts came faster, one after another, until the room filled with the sharp digital hum of her life falling apart. "What's that?" Dad asked. Amanda's smile wavered. "It's nothing." Her screen lit up again. Payment failed. Autopay declined. Insufficient funds. The silence that followed was surgical. I slipped my phone back into my pocket and smoothed my sweater. "I should go," I said evenly. "You're right, Amanda. I need to stop making my problems everyone else's." I left before anyone could answer. Behind me, I heard her phone ringing non-stop. Chase. Capital One. The ghosts of every secret bill I'd been paying. At home, I poured myself tea and opened my laptop. Years of bank records sat waiting, every transfer, every please, just this once, every promise she'd never kept. I built a spreadsheet, color-coded by year. The total stared back at me, $41,300. When her first frantic voicemail arrived, I didn't answer. Then came more. Her voice swung from angry to desperate to tearful. "Olivia, please, I don't know what you did, but Derek's asking questions. Fix this, please." The next morning, the calls came from my parents. "She's your sister," Mom pleaded. "You can't just cut her off." "I didn't cut her off," I said. "I just stopped paying her bills." Silence. They couldn't argue with that. By the end of the week, Amanda's entire illusion had collapsed, her cards frozen, her credit tanking, Derek finally seeing the truth she'd buried under Burberry and filters. The family's golden child was unraveling, and for the first time I didn't feel guilt. I felt air, light, space. Because sometimes justice doesn't need an audience. It just needs a password, a steady hand, and the courage to hit cancel. By Monday morning, I'd stopped counting how many times she called. 19 voicemails, 42 texts, each one more frantic than the last. I didn't listen to them at first. I wanted silence. Clean, heavy silence. But when I finally did, they played like a confession tape. "Olivia, what the hell did you do? My payments aren't going through, Liv. Please, the bank called. Derek's freaking out. Please, I'm serious. This isn't funny. Then one from my mother, Amanda, is very upset. You need to fix whatever this is. Fix." That word had followed me my entire life. I'd fixed Amanda's debts, her drama, her image. I'd fixed the family narrative every time she stumbled. But not this time. At 8:47 a.m., an unknown number flashed on my screen. I answered. Miss Richardson, this is Janet from Chase Bank. We're confirming the cancellation of recurring payments on an account ending in 7734. That's correct, I said. May I ask why you were making payments on someone else's card? I took a slow breath. Family arrangement. It's over. Pause. Then understood. Cancellation complete. When I hung up, I knew there was no going back. By noon, Amanda texted again. You said you'd help me. Why are you doing this to me? I typed back. You told me to stop asking you for money. I'm just following instructions. The typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, reappeared. Then her final message. I have $87,000 in debt. I can't fix this alone. There it was, the truth in writing, the number she'd hidden from Derek, the secret I'd been protecting. I didn't reply. I just screenshotted it, archived it, and closed my phone. That afternoon, my father called. His voice was measured the way it gets when he's trying to sound reasonable. Olivia, your sister's in serious trouble. The credit card companies are threatening to send her to collections. I know. Then you need to do something. I did, I said. I stopped paying her bills. He sighed heavily. That's heartless. She's your sister. I was her sister when I sent $40,000 she never returned. I'm still her sister now. I'm just not her lifeline. You've changed. No, Dad. I've stopped pretending this is love. By Tuesday, the family chat was buzzing. Aunt Susan called to check in. Then Brian texted, followed by a voicemail from Maya. I ignored them all until Maya's second message came through. Olivia, I just found out. She told everyone you were begging her for money while you were paying her bills. That's insane. I could hear the disbelief in her voice. You have to tell people the truth. I don't need to, I said quietly. The truth's already catching up. And it did. Faster than I expected. Thursday evening, my phone rang again. Derek. For a second, I almost didn't answer. Then I did. Hey, he said, voice tight. I wanted to hear it from you. You've been paying her credit cards, yes. For how long? 4 years. Silence. Then a sound halfway between a sigh and a laugh. Jesus Christ, I didn't want to get between you two. You weren't between us. You were under us, holding her up. I didn't know what to say. He kept going. She told me you were jealous, that you couldn't manage your own money. I believed her. I swallowed. Now you know. Yeah, now I know. Derek wasn't angry. He sounded tired. The kind of tired that comes after years of denial. He thanked me, then apologized. Not for Amanda, for believing the wrong person. Friday morning, Amanda showed up at my apartment, no makeup eyes swollen, wearing sweatpants that probably cost more than my entire outfit. She looked small for the first time in her life. Can I come in? I should have said no. But I stepped aside. She sat at my kitchen table, tracing a finger along the edge of her coffee mug. I messed up. Yes, I said. I was drunk at Thanksgiving. I just wanted them to think I was doing well. I didn't mean what I said. You called me a beggar. Her lip trembled. I was scared. Derek was getting suspicious. I thought if I made you look worse than you, I finished for her. She nodded. I don't know what to do, Liv. The credit cards are frozen. The car might get repossessed. Derek's furious. I stayed quiet. Please, she whispered, just for a few months. I'll get a job. I'll pay you back. You've been saying that for 4 years. Her tears came fast, ugly, real. You don't understand. I'll lose everything. No, I said softly. You already did. She blinked at me like she hadn't processed it yet. I stood and opened the door. I can't, I said. Not again. She hesitated. I really am sorry. I believe you're sorry it's over, I said. But I don't think you're sorry for what you did. She left without another word. That night, I sat on my couch, my small, quiet couch in my small, quiet apartment, and exhaled for what felt like the first time in years. My phone vibrated once. A new text from Derek. She's telling the truth about being sorry. I'm handling it. She's working now. Thank you for everything. I didn't reply. Not yet. Some things don't need words, because revenge isn't always fire and spectacle. Sometimes it's the slow, steady silence of a door that finally stays closed. And in that silence, for the first time, I heard my own life start again. By the time spring came, the story of that Thanksgiving had been picked clean by every branch of our family tree. The older generation whispered that I had gone cold, while the cousins quietly called to say I'd done the right thing. I didn't correct anyone. I was tired of correcting people. Derek sold Amanda's SUV and bought her a used sedan. He canceled the Turks and Caicos trip, took over all their accounts, and set up automatic transfers to pay down her debt. Amanda started working at a local boutique 40 hours a week on her feet. The girl who used to post from luxury resorts now posted pictures of folded sweaters and discount handbags. Mom tried to stage family dinners to reconcile us. I went, but I didn't play the old role anymore. I brought my own dessert, smiled politely, left early. Amanda avoided my eyes, and I didn't chase her down to make it better. One morning, about 6 months after that night, my phone buzzed with a payment notification, $500 deposited to my account. A message followed first payment. It'll take me 16 years, but I'm going to pay you back every dollar. I stared at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to send it back. Another part knew she needed to do this for herself. I typed 2 words, received. Thank you. Life moved quietly after that. I redirected that $600 a month into investments. By the next Thanksgiving, my portfolio was up 34%. I still lived simply, but now every piece of furniture, every quiet morning coffee felt like mine. Paid for, earned untied from anyone else's chaos. At Christmas, Amanda and I stood side by side in Mom's kitchen again, strangers who shared the same childhood. She handed me a plate of cookies without meeting my eyes. "I'm working on it," she said. I know I told her. It wasn't forgiveness. It was acknowledgement. Maya hugged me before she left that night. "You taught me not to let people walk all over me," she whispered. "You did that by finally not letting them walk over you." That's when I realized the truth. The moment I stopped being the family scapegoat wasn't when Amanda's phone lit up with declined payments. It was when I stopped apologizing for doing what was right. A year later, Thanksgiving looked smaller, fewer guests, less noise. But for once, the quiet felt right. I sat at the same table where everything had fallen apart 12 months before and realized I wasn't waiting for anyone's approval anymore. I'd spent most of my life trying to be the sister who fixed things until I learned that fixing others can break you in ways no one sees. Amanda was polite, calm, almost shy. She passed me the mashed potatoes, and for the first time, there was no hidden performance behind her smile. I didn't feel anger anymore, just distance, the kind that finally feels peaceful. I left early, walked out into the cold night, and thought about all the things I'd bought back with my silence, my dignity, my savings, my self-respect. I used to think revenge meant making them hurt. But real revenge is just living well, unbothered, free. If you've ever been the one who held a family together until it broke you, this story is for you. Drop a comment and tell me where you're listening from your stories. Remind me I'm not alone. And if you believe that setting boundaries isn't cruelty, but courage, hit subscribe. There are more stories like this about people who finally stopped apologizing for saving themselves.